As you can see, it's quite snowy today, and I'm in the middle of the forest, and it's during winter time here in Finland. In front of me is a very beautiful flag, the flag of Kenya. Right now, I've decided to come outside. It's freezing cold. It's during winter time. Right now, it's -10 according to the temperatures. I'm looking at that beautiful flag in front of me. I'm a diaspora living in a country which is so many miles away from my own motherland. I'm living in Finland. I'm trying to just take some time off and you know try to think about the diaspora life, because so many people talk about diaspora. They talk about diaspora should go back to Africa. The African diaspora should go back to Africa to help build Africa, which is right. I'm trying to think what is the process, what are the nuts and bolts of somebody packing up his things and going back to Africa simply because he came from Africa and you have to go back to build Africa. I've always been thinking like, is it really a must for somebody to be physically present in Africa in order to build Africa, which for me is a kind of no. Even though east or west home is the best, sometimes we got to think about the current situation, where you are, where you're living, the kind of lifestyle you're living, the kind of responsibility you've got, the kind of people who are looking upon you, and try to analyze in a holistic way, thinking about is it really wise to go back to Africa simply because people are saying African diaspora should go back to Africa and build Africa. I've heard people like Wodemaya talk about let's go back to Africa to build Africa. I'm not denying that fact. That fact is right. But then again, when you look at the way Africa itself is being run in Africa by our own brothers and sisters, you always ask yourself, like, what will be my responsibility once I go to Africa? If that responsibility can be done when I'm in diaspora, like that is, I'm not physically available in Africa, is it a must for me to really go back to Africa? The brothers and sisters back in Africa, they're doing quite a lot. And when we talk about developing something, when you talk about developing a country, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be physically right there to hold a shovel, to hold a djembe, to hold, or rather to push a wheelbarrow or to drive. But there are so many nuts and bolts that are involved in developing a country. Sometimes I do believe that it is really wise for a diaspora. It doesn't necessarily mean an African diaspora. It can be an Asian diaspora. It can be a nation who is living abroad and is entitled to that title, diaspora. Do you really have to be physically present in your country to build your country? Do you really have to have sleepless nights in order to build that country? What I'm saying here is, na hivi ndivyo tunasema, ni kwamba I've seen so many people who are not Africans. I've seen so many people who've not been to Africa, but they build that continent, which I give credit to that. But when we really insist on a diaspora to go back to motherland, we have to ask yourself, what is it really that you can do where you are? It doesn't matter where you are. Is it Europe? Is it America? Is it Asia? What can you really do when you're there to help build Africa? I've seen and I've heard and I've read about Africans, about Asian diasporas, African diasporas, name them. They've helped build their countries without being physically present in the continent or in the country. it is really difficult for us sometimes, we diasporans, to make decision. There's that wise decision that now it's time to pack my things and go. Where do you go if you don't have a plan? Where will you start once you're in that country, your own country, your own motherland? Where do you start? What are the nuts and bolts of you living on a daily basis in your country once you go back home? First and foremost, without a plan, you're doomed to fail. First and foremost, without financial support, you're doomed to fail. First and foremost, without people believing in supporting you to adjust back to your in your country. If there's no that support, then you're doomed to fail. It's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes people just say that you have to pack and go. We cannot, and as a diaspora, you cannot just pack and go. You really have to plan. You really have to have that financial muscles. I've seen people save a lot of money, and they want to go back to Africa. They want to go back to their motherland. They want to go back to whichever place they came from, but they don't have that financial muscles to help them succeed in their own country. There's a lot of expectation from people back at home that simply because you used to live abroad, you're back in your own motherland, you've got to live a lifestyle that you used to live, or you got to give us this and this and that, or you got to live this kind of lifestyle simply because ulikuwa umeenda huko majuu. Let's try to think a little bit about a person who has come to live in a country like Finland, a country that is really beautiful, a country that is in the middle of winter, a country that has prospered, a country that is moving forward, a country that when you look at the lifestyle, it has been taken care of by their own people. Let's assume this person, a person comes to Finland and decides this is where I'm gonna live and this is my age, assuming that person is 20-something years old or 30-something years old, and that guy or that person has a permanent job. He got a job. Let's assume that he is living. He or she is able to financially support himself. He or she is also supporting people back at home. And then this person, we have to remember that this person has to have energetic years where he has to be himself, herself. And if you've not used those really energetic years when you're young to build yourself, and then all of a sudden you go back to motherland and be expected to continue living there like you used to be living in whichever place you are, this person or this guy will definitely have a difficulty in adjusting to the lifestyle, because one thing is that the financial muscles will be down. You just came from a country where you were living, you are supporting yourself, you're supporting your family, you're supporting other people, relatives, friends, and then all of a sudden you're back in your country. Then people there, or people do have this mentality that because you back from abroad, you have to live that life. Then you're not able to adjust to that life. There are so many chances that you will end up in the streets. And this is a fact. You will end up in the streets, and people will not believe that you used to live abroad and you're currently living this kind of lifestyle in your motherland. It's a fact. These things have happened. Tumeona hii maneno. So what is the solution here? Sometimes I do ask myself, I can't just pack and go. That is a no. Yeah, I respect people like whoever Pan-Africanism is there back in our continent, saying that we got to pack and go and develop Mother Africa. Yeah, I believe that. It's something that it's wise to do. But then again, it's on the other hand, it's something that is unwise to do, because what is the game plan? What plan do you have? Once you go back in your country, how will you survive? Utaishi namna gani? What are the financial sources once you go back to your country? Okay, the financial sources will be in a way that you have to start from scratch. Yeah. What are the chances that you're going to get a job? Looking at the aid that you're going back to your country after wasted or after living back in diaspora or rather abroad, how will you survive? Those are the nuts and bolts. Yani kushikanisha shikanisha. You got to put all that puzzles together for that solution to be complete. So when people say that to end Africa, let's go back to Africa. Okay, you're going back to your motherland. Yes, you got your relatives there. Yeah, you got your friends there. Yeah, you got whichever parents' land there. Yeah, but where is the financial masses? What is the game plan? Once you land in your country, how will you survive? If you're not able to survive, then you're not in some way able to also help your own motherland to prosper. Why? Simply because you'll be a nuisance to the people that have been living there when you are living abroad. Sometimes is wise to understand that the country that has given you chance to live, the country that has given you chance to earn some living, we got to respect it. We got to respect the culture. We got to mingle with the people. We got to respect their way of living, and then from there, you carve your way out. You respect them, they respect you. No culture is right or wrong. I always say that. No culture is right or wrong. What is there is that you got to get the best of both the world. So when somebody tells you pack and go to Africa and help Africa, sometimes it's kind of weird, sometimes it's kind of difficult, sometimes it's kind of hard to understand. Unaenda wapi? If you don't have that game plan, if you don't have that financial game plan, there are some people who pack and go. Yeah, I know. People just wake up and go back to their motherland. Why? Because they get a game plan. They got financial muscles. They got well-established investment. They are simply going to just get inside their own investment and continue watching over the investment. But if you're simply doing these manual jobs and you've got no money saved, you got nothing basically back at home, and somebody just insists that you have to pack and go, sometimes it's really good to ask ourselves, do you have a plan once you land back home? What will you do? Sometimes it's good to just get the reality of what is happening back at home. Because the comfort of some places, they're too nice sometimes to live. You're basically in a box. And that comfort zone makes people not to make that decision to go back to their motherland. Why? Because they know once I go to my motherland, the really good amenities and all the lifestyle that I used to have back at home, or rather back in abroad, I'll not get them in my motherland. So diasporas are in dilemma sometimes. Some of us, we are in dilemma. Should I go back home? Yeah. Should I go back home? No. Why? Because I don't know where I'm going and I don't have a game plan. You got to have that game plan. It's not about saving 10,000 euros and then you decide this is now the time to go. There's no way. There's no way you're going to just start from scratch, having saved 10,000 and boarding a plane and go back to Africa. Hakuna kitu kama hiyo. Nevertheless, I'm not saying that people should not go back to Africa or people should not go back to their motherland if you are a diaspora. What I'm saying here is you got to have a game plan. Home, east or west, home is the best. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy.